You're listening to Shoe In, covering the ins and outs of all things footwear, from sneakers to heels, loafers to slippers, and every type of shoe in between. Brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. And now your footwear insiders, Matt Priest and Andy Polk.
Welcome back, all our footwear fans and friends.
Welcome.
This is Shoe In Show, the podcast that never ends.
Right. And that's Jasmine.
Hi, guys.
What's up, Jasmine?
Apparently, we're almost at 100, guys. Almost
100 what?
100 episodes.
100 downloads?
We're almost close.
More than that.
It's all just my mom.
We've had about 2.4 million downloads.
A day.
Yeah.
A day.
I mean, I'm using some kind of fuzzy math algorithm just like Facebook does. So
Right.
that's how it justifies.
To hear that, advertisers, you can reach 2.4 million people a day just by advertising on this amazing podcast.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Or not.
In this day and age, that's a fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
Exactly.
Well, we are hopefully a couple of weeks away from seeing the end of winter and some thaw happening across the country, which means that this is an early preview. But as the temperatures get a little bit warmer, people start showing the freaky side, coming out a little bit more with some crazy shoes, hopefully, other than their normal boots that they'll wear during the wintertime or warm shoes.
Right.
Even though those have different colorways, springtime is the time of bright, flashy colors.
Is it?
I think so.
Is it, Andrew?
It should be. That's the Easter egg, so I just assumed that followed, I'm surprised somebody hasn't put Easter eggs on the shoes yet.
By the way, we have these new videos we're doing now. We're taping this nonsense, and we have these human factories.
Is this our sponsor?
This is our sponsor. We need shoe-in mugs, so all you mug people out there, send us shoe-in mugs.
Yeah, we need shoe
or other product placement.
Sponsored by Human Media Factor, the mug, and DC Water.
Human Media.
Tap for life.
And Keurig.
Exactly. But
anyway,
this episode is kind of an early look at 2018 trends that we're going to see over the next couple of quarters.
Maybe.
And Jasmine has congratulations to Jasmine, who is nearing her 1-year anniversary with FDRA.
I know.
Congratulations.
Where's my applause?
Where is the applause? There we go. There it goes.
Finally.
Thank you very much.
This is usually when they run, Andy.
That's
about
true.
the 1 year. I know. Out.
No, I was so excited to get to my 1 year.
Peace in the Middle East.
But Jasmine, as she is emerging into her first full year, or past that now, she has been doing our Fashion Footwear and Focus segments that so many people listen to and enjoy, and we thought we would just bring that all the way to the very start. And this whole episode is going to be Fashion Footwear in Focus.
That's awesome.
You're welcome, people.
Oh, we love it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so should we just play the music for 30 minutes? Just keep looping it. Just loop it. Oh, yeah.
There it is.
So it is awards season. We've had the Golden Globes.
Yep.
We have the Oscars coming up at some point. I'm not really an awards guy, but awards seem to set trends and tones and how people feel about certain things when it comes to fashion trends. And we know that our own Footwear News, which is one of our top publications, covers it extensively. When there's a red carpet, they are there. So maybe, Jazz, when we start there, talking about why is the runway so important? What shoes celebrities wear? Why is that so important? I don't really care what Mark Wahlberg wore to the gym on a Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Calvin Klein's.
Yeah, but why do we kind of look for these folks for inspiration about what we should be wearing?
Well, I think that I used to work at a PR firm, and dressing people for these kind of events used to be a part of my job. It's a great way for a new designer or somebody who's already been established to get their new collections out. So it's a very important time, actually. And if they have an item or a product that they want to push, they want to make sure it is on the celebrity at that time. Most of the photographers who are on the red carpet always make sure to label what the people are wearing from head to toe. So your name will be there. Your name will be tagged on Instagram Instagram now, but and other social media. So it's a big deal. And also, celebs don't want to wear what everybody else is wearing. They want something exclusive. I've had celebs deny things because they've seen somebody in them. So it's a chance for them to be the first to wear it.
Right.
And then there's a chance for the designer to push whatever they have in their newest collection out there.
It's probably also, I mean, if they have something that catches everybody's eye, they're gonna be in the media more than anybody else on the red carpet, right? So they get to stand out along with that product that's probably coming out, which is probably it strokes the ego, right?
Yeah.
Which is what LA and the Hollywood is all about at that point. So
that's
I mean but that's interesting that the photographers tag it and know what it is, and then I've seen now, like if you go online and you see something in on any of the gossip columns or whatever online, you can see what somebody's wearing, and if you hover over it, it will find it for you online.
Right.
Which I think is
cool.
interesting.
That's really cool.
And even on like Pinterest, if you see a picture that you like of a celeb, they'll usually have a gray dot, and it'll take you straight to the link of where you can purchase it. So
that's unbelievable.
And I remember, and like you said, getting something that's really unique, you get more photos pulled up online for you. I remember sending the MTV Awards was in New York this past year, and Justine Skye, who's a up and coming singer, she has like purple hair. That's how everybody knows her. I sent her a Missoni fringe jacket and Missoni shoes as well, and it's like all these different colors, and as she walks, all the fringe goes all around. So she was everywhere because that was such like a big moment, and everybody's like, what's that, so just very colorful. Those things definitely matter. But the Golden Globes, which just happened recently, everybody wears black, so it's just like who can dress the best in black there.
Right.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, it had to do with the whole sexual harassment thing, right? That's been going on, so it was like a solidarity
Everyone's in
stand
mourning for all the shenanigans.
against Harvey Weinstein or whoever that guy is, and the whole thing. And so I think they were all, and they had pins.
Yeah.
I saw pins where people were wearing pins.
You were
talking
watching?
about it. I have a wife who took over the television, yes.
As she should.
Yeah, exactly. So I was seeing
It's funny how I scoff at the awards and like, oh, the celebrities, what they're wearing, and then I flip over to ESPN. I'm like, I don't wonder what new sneakers LeBron's got on, right? Like, influencers aren't just Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
They're everywhere. What other segments of our society other than sports and Hollywood?
I mean, I remember Michelle Obama setting a lot of trends, so it's anybody in the eye of the public, really, and especially when the Obamas first came to Washington and all eyes were on them for the first couple of years. I mean, she would sport some like really nice Louboutins and things like that. So I mean, and that got a lot of attention. And then Pippa Middleton, and now that Prince Harry, the fiance of Prince Harry, I don't know who she is, but she's been getting a lot of press.
Yes, she's the actress. I can't remember her name.
We were actually in London, and the people in England think she's like the greatest actress in America. Like that's how they portray her. Like they're like, no, it was Suits. It's a USA
Meghan Markle. I remember when the Obamas came, there was an article, I think in the Washington Post, about President Obama wearing side vents on his suit coats and how unique that was for presidents. And that all of a sudden, you walk around town, everyone's side venting it, because they set the trend. So
definitely for the first lady, that's a gown designer. That's their dream. And people send her sketches and things for her to wear. So that's really big.
Yeah.
But I would guess since the Golden Globes are now, it's interesting because it's January. We turn the new year. And then people get a first glance at 2018 products. Is that basically what you're saying? This is like the first look at what 2018 may look like.
Yeah. You start to slowly see product placement for 2018 spring.
Yeah.
Of course, the runway shows happen beforehand, but the PR firms get the clothes months after they've been on the runway, and then you just start figuring out ways in when you can incorporate it, whether it's a TV show or an interview or award show.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting because they are protective of their designs, but they obviously want to sell more product. So you go from this being unique on the runway or at the awards show to wanting to make money off that and drive that fashion out and democratize it and have people buying stuff. So it's it's interesting how that whole dynamic plays out.
Yeah.
What, Jasmine, in your mind, what are we looking at in 18? How can we, Annie and I, or our wives, be fashionable if we have our eye on Hollywood as we sit here today?
Well, I think fashion is just all over the place right now. I don't think there's anything you can't do. I mean, that's kind of always the rules, but I really feel like that now. White boots are really in this fall, but I think it's going to transfer over into the springtime because white is not really necessarily a fall color. I mean, it is, but not really. So this is my first time seeing white boots be so popular and all the brands kind of incorporating that in their collection. So I think because they're white, they will transfer over to the springtime. I think the ugly dad shoes, I don't know if you guys have seen any of those.
No.
They're almost like reminiscent of orthopedic shoes.
I mean, we know New Balance, white New Balance are ugly dad shoes.
No, these are way chunkier.
Zach Galifianakis and Saturday Night Live made those popular. But
Yeah, but explain to me what these are. Like, what's the material? What's the... is it heavy?
Yeah, they're
Is
heavy.
it like a slip-on?
They're regular lace-up sneakers,
Okay.
but they're just chunkied and layered, and they're usually color blocked. So Balenciaga, I feel like, is the first major brand that I've seen come out with a shoe like this, but
Yeah.
there's tons. I think Reebok even might have a dad sneaker that's up.
We can call it the
considered a
Goonie
ugly
sneaker, right? For chunk.
well, it's funny you say that. So, Man Repeller, which is a fashion blog
Yes.
that's popular in our within our industry, had a piece October 9th of last year, Why Ugly Sneakers Are Back. And it's not just for dads.
No.
It's on fashionable
Everybody,
women.
yeah.
This is
They're in.
shocking. I'll post this in the down below. You'll find the description. But like women are wearing old sneakers.
It's almost like if you think about the most popular sneaker, then just putting it all into one and then making it like a platform. That's
interesting.
kind of like what it's just put everything together.
Sounds like Zoolander in real life.
Yeah.
And they're usually always color block and always like have multiple colors in them. So I definitely think that'll be way more popular in the spring.
What are the costs for those shoes? Are they expensive?
Oh yeah,
Really?
Yeah, they can be. I think the ones that I hope I'm not incorrect, but I think the ones from Reebok are around $300 if I'm not
really?
mistaken. And then they can go up to over $1,000.
This is shocking to me. Why have I known this? I mean, it's all over the place, and they are ugly.
Yeah.
And they look like my dad would wear them. No offense, Dad. He's been on the podcast before. And it's a bunch of trendy females wearing them.
Yeah. And they're kind of growing you. When I first seen them, I'm like, oh no.
GQ's got a story on it now.
I mean, it makes sense though because it's like counterculture, right? Like females
Right.
used to wear a lot of Doc Marten boots, and people are like, "What in the world?" Like when Gwen Stefani first came out in the '90s, and like grunge was big. Gwen Stefani kind of started some trends like that, and
Right.
then other females were using that too, like Courtney.
Kardashian?
No. Courtney Love.
Courtney Love, yeah.
That whole thing, but that happened, and it would make sense too if you hit a point where you're just like wondering what the next thing is. Why not just start it and just say, I'm just going to be counterculture to the whole thing.
Act like I don't care, but I
Right.
do, and find something that's unique that stands out.
Yeah, and it's just turning something and it really does resemble almost like an orthopedic shoe. And I think it's just turning things that people think wouldn't be so fashionable into something that's fashionable. The same thing of when Crocs did the collaboration with high-end designers. It's taking
Right.
something that you don't think is going to be seen on the runway and making it cool.
Yeah.
So I think that's another.
Sneakers are still going to be hot in 2018. Yeah,
Yes.
that trend's not going away.
Yeah, I think we'll still just how gold is in
Gold sneakers.
Yes, gold colorway sneakers. I think we'll just keep seeing signature styles from brands, but them giving us different colorways and materials, and just keep changing it around.
Do they can you get an affordable gold sneaker?
Oh, for sure. Well, it depends on what you say affordable is. I know my friends spend about $150 on sneakers. That's normal.
What if you say like $75? Can you go into like a DSW or something like that and find something affordable?
I think possibly.
Yeah.
I feel like
Because I'm just my question is, does it trickle down? Is the
Yeah.
fashion trickling down? And I guess,
Definitely.
how long do you think it takes? Does it take like a season? Does it take like half a year, a year?
No, shorter.
Before somebody can grab onto it and say, all right, I can make something similar and
Well,
affordable.
I know, for instance, Kids and Kate Spade had a collaboration with each other, and Kids is something I always find in DSW, so I'm pretty sure you can find that in around the $75 range there, and they're gold all over. It's a woman's shoe. There's these high-end Swarovski crystal boots that are $10,000, but then Steve Madden has them for $100 and something. So I don't think it takes any time. I think people have caught on to that. I don't know how.
Well, you know what they do? They go, and we have a number of members that do this. They shop the European markets.
Okay.
That's where fashion often is born for our market. And I know people who are suppliers to family fashion footwear retailers and are in the tween marketplace, and they go once a quarter to Europe, shop, they buy a bunch of samples, they ship them back, and they start to kind of have those shoes be inspiration to what they're trying to drive out to the masses.
Yeah.
And that's part of the process, and that's how they get the high-end $800 shoe to $69.99 at Kohl's or wherever you might find it, and that's because they go and try to connect those dots, because people are going to want them. They're going to watch the Golden Globes or whatever, and they'll see Pharrell Williams wearing them, and they're going to want whatever the most affordable version of that is.
Right. Yeah, including me. The shoes that I just bought, they don't resemble an exact high-end, but the style of them being slouched, which is really popular, like the slouch boot, the $10,000 boots that I was talking about that's covered in crystals, those are slouched as well. So that's really popular, and I wanted a shoe that still had that same kind of style, but I spent $60 on mine. So, and actually they did come from the UK, so that's interesting.
So what else, Jasmine, in 2018 are we looking at? I mean, I think everybody knows sneakers are still going to be selling like hotcakes, but what in terms of other fashion, high-end fashion type stuff, do you think is going to be happening?
I think the heel, usually, women turn to a open-toed heel in the springtime or the summertime, and I think instead of then the ankle strap, which is always popular and every girl has a pair, you'll start doing the slingbacks. I remember my grandmother wearing slingbacks. I've never really got into
them.
What's a
slingback?
Well, it's like the strap is just on the back of your ankle.
I see.
So instead of having something around your whole entire ankle, it's just in the back holding it, and you have like a closed-toed heel. Okay. So I think that's going to be, so your heel will be exposed instead of then your toes.
Okay.
I think that'll be really popular this season. I'm not sure who will be the brand that will really take over that, but I expect to see that, especially because I haven't seen it for any of the hotter months in the past recently, and I know that was something that was really big when my grandmother was still, really into heels and things like that, so I'm sure it's going to come back around.
Right on.
Yeah.
What about high tops, basketball? Is that coming back anytime soon or no?
I think basketball shoes are always in. I think I seen what's his name? Russell Westbrook from OKC. He has a new black and white shoe that's kind of like no other basketball shoe that I've really seen. It has the real big Jordan sign on the front, which you don't see often, like the huge logo. And it's all black and white. It has some like rib details on the back. I'm not sure how good they'll be to play in, but they look pretty comfortable to me. I'm not a basketball shoe wearer, well, unless you count Jordans, but I think they will always be in style. I think kids will always want to have shoes from their favorite players, and anybody who plays basketball on the weekends or for a team, they're always going to be into them.
But it's not always that the high, or whatever the fashion is, let's just use high tops for example right now, makes its way into kind of the fashion trendsetter world, if that makes sense. So right now we've got ugly dad sneakers, or ugly
ugly dad sneakers.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Sneakers for ugly dads?
No.
That's good looking dads going to wear those sneakers. Anyway, so those have made their way in. And is there a point where you thought back in history where high top basketball sneakers have been hot with fashionistas, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always a core support group, but
right.
When does it get broadened out to more of a...
I think it could happen.
Yeah,
I think it could happen. I of course, Jordans, like the high top ones, like all girls love to wear those. I've even tried to sit on the computer for hours trying to get a pair myself. So I think, but some of the basketball shoes are very basketball looking, but nobody would think that orthopedic shoes would be in style either. So I can't say it wouldn't really kind of expand and be fashionable.
Let me ask you about influencers in 2018. There's always brands are always looking for someone to get on board and help promote their shoes across social media, YouTube. So who do you see over the last couple of months has really kind of stepped out and become a huge influencer?
Well, people like Alyssa Forever, she is a YouTuber and she has a good balance of street style where she wears a lot of sneakers, but then she also has, wears heels and a lot of feminine shoes. And Gatorade and Nike just did a collaboration where they have like a Gatorade colorway and there are shoes that are just all the way orange, just like it looks like in the bottle. Right. They definitely sent her a pair. She did a whole story on Instagram. You're able to save the story now. Usually when you do a story on Instagram, you can see it for that 24 hours and then it'll go away. But now, if you have a story, you can save it to your Instagram so anybody can come to your page at any time and see it. So when they come to her page, the first thing they see is the collaboration that they did with Gatorade. So I think she's definitely one of those people who is a good fit for footwear brands because she does a little bit of everything and she has great style.
How did you find these people? Do you just go online and
I love
see
shoes.
if they mesh with what you think and if their style matches your style?
And the Explore page on Instagram is great. So once you start liking other shoes, eventually you run into some other people who have the same interests of you or the style of you, and I've enjoyed that.
Here's what I want 2018. I want Jasmine to have her own channel.
Let's do it.
Promote her own shoes and be an influencer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, folks, you can send shoes to FDRA, to Jasmine. What size are you, Jasmine?
6.5.
6.5. She will try them on and Instagram them and Facebook them.
We're going to create a new influencer out of Jasmine.
That's right. Why not?
Sure.
I'm
absolutely
down. I love some shoes.
Well, with that, folks, this is a little bit of a preview for 2018. Some of the pictures we had today we'll definitely post up on social media. You can find them on Twitter at Shoe and Show. We're also on Facebook. Jasmine, thank you so much for letting us pick your brain and stepping out of the shadows and talking more about fashion. And it's nice to start the new year and Jasmine have her own episode, which is always
thank
nice.
You very much.
It'll make Matt's dad very pleased. That's
very much so.
He's a big fan.
Christmas, he said, Matt, less talk. Jasmine, more talk. Get it done.
I think he's probably been saying that your whole life.
Exactly.
Matt, let's talk.
Yep. More action.
Rake the leaves. Folks, if you have ideas on what you would like to hear us talk about, topics, guests, if you would like to be a guest, just hit us up. We're at shoeandshow.com. You'll find a form on there to fill out. It will come straight to us. We'll review it. And we're always looking for folks to come on and chat about the industry. We cover all segments of the industry, all types of shoes. And we really appreciate your listenership. And until next time, Shoe-In is out.
Shoe-In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.